Shalom, shalom, everyone. This is Wes Smith with Witnesses of Yahuwah, and I'm coming to you with dreams, visions, and hearing the audible word of Yahuwah. Part 16. Oh no, I'm sorry, part 15. And I just want to talk about a series of dreams that I had recently, and that kind of connect with over the past I say year or so. So I'm reading the book of Baruch, in the Et Sefer, the book of Baruch, and he ended up having these a series of dreams where, well, first Yah tells him that he will be preserved until the end of days, and show him the tribulations and different things that will be happening. And when he asked y'all to reveal to him the tribulation and would it last long and how would it be, he said it will be divided. And one of them is reserved for that which is appointed for. It said it would be divided into 12 parts. That time divided, and each one of them is reserved for that which is appointed for it. And if any of y'all had the Sefer, that's Second Baruch, chapter 27, verse 1. And as he goes through a series of this, he begins to talk about if you go to verse 9, it say, in the 8th part, a multitude of specters. So when I looked up that word specters are known as in our English vocabulary as phantasms or ghosts or basically spirits that have not finished their left something behind and didn't get it done. And then the other word is an attacks of the shadim. The shadim, those are demons. So when if any of you have read the book of Enoch, you find out that the Nephilim have children with the daughters of men. And so when the flood came and wiped them all out, well, then their bodies, since angels can't create, they're not supposed to procreate, a soul was not given to them, so their spirit neither went to heaven nor they went to hell. So they went. Remember when Yahusha said, when they asked, well, why couldn't we cast out these devils? And he said, some devils can only be cast out through much fasting and prayer. And then right immediately after that, he turns around and says, I'm gonna see if I can find that real quick. He turns around and says, on these kind of roam dry places, seeking a place to find, but they can't find no rest, so they come back. And remember, he said when they come back, they bring back more spirits. They go and find a place that try to find a place, and then they come back to that place that is swept and garnished, which is your body, which is supposed to be made clean. And then it comes back. And so in the whole midst of that, and I'm finna look that up right now. In the whole midst of that, when he says that, I began to have dreams when I was first starting this walk, and the dreams would be I began to call these things that I would see, I call them shades, which at the time before I started learning Hebrew or before I started studying any of this stuff, I did not know that they were that the Raphaim, which would be the children of the fallen angels, which is the Raphaim, which I was telling you are the demons that roam the earth, or the unclean spirits, in other words. They basically, I would have dreams about these things, and I was wondering why I begin to call them shades. Well, if you look up Raphaim and you look up the Hebrew word for Raphaim, it shades. And so when I found that out, I was just like, wow, like I've been having dreams about these spirits. And I started off with when I first gave my life to Yahuwah. And at the time when I gave my life, consider myself a Christian. I really, I went by the name. I called him God, Lord, and Jesus and all that stuff. And this is the thing. So when I when I first gave my life, this is how I know that I was possessed by evil spirit, is because I first off, my wife showed me would tell me that I don't go by my name when I got drunk or high. I would go by another a whole nother name, and once I began to go by that name, then I would just start acting. I would just start acting rowdy and just acting very, very unpleasing, and it was shown to me that I would act very, very foolish. Anyway, so I had a dream that there was two of me, and I was viewing myself from okay. I was viewing myself. It was weird. It was like I was viewing the spirit, and it really wasn't me. He embodied me, so he looked like me. And for those of you that don't know me, when I was younger, I used to wear my hair very long. So I saw myself with long white hair, but this side of my head had an incision in it, and there was stitches going up that side, and that was the unclean spirit. But he was prancing around as me, and I would remember times when I felt like that I was how can I put it, on co-pilot. I was watching things happen that I could not control when I would get high and drunk. And so when that began to happen to me, I don't know. It was like I was there, but I couldn't do nothing. It was like I was stuck in the back of my mind. If you ever seen that movie, Get Out. If anybody ever seen that movie, Get Out, that's what demon possession is. If you haven't seen the movie Get Out, watch the movie Get Out. It's a movie about, and I'm not trying to say it like that, but it's a movie where Caucasian people are taking over black people, and like this lady said, sink. And when she hypnotized them, they start falling, and inside of they're like locked inside of like the back of their mind. So like that person they can see what's going on, but they can't speak. They can't do anything. And that same incision, but it's going all the way around. It's like they remove the part of that person that made them their self, and they implanted that other person being or character. But anyways, it was showing how if you look at it from the spiritual realm, how you become possessed. And when you become possessed, you can't do anything. You can't really control it. You can't handle and so that's why when sin enters in, is like you're dead. So that's why you had to be careful, and that's why you had to watch out for these things. So I saw myself, and then I saw the clean version of myself, and it was either I had to go toward the light, which was behind the unclean spirit, or the unclean spirit had to go behind me, which was the darkness. So I could see from both point of views. It was weird because it was like either I choose this path before me, which is the straight and narrow path, which is the light, or I could choose the path which is behind me, which is broad and dark and just, death. So I chose to walk the right path. Now, has there been slips along the way? Yes, there have. But every time I found myself in fault, I always go to YAH and humble myself, and I seek His face. Okay, so then a little while after my 5-year-old was born, I began to have dreams with me and him, and we were like walking through the streets, and these things would just like pop out of these dimensional realms. I don't know how to put it. It's like little pockets will open up from another dimension, and these they were unclean beings would come through. And me and him were like we could see him, and so like they were trying to get me and him, but me and him had like the Holy Spirit or the Ruach HaKodesh, so they couldn't really affect us like they were affecting other people. And so me and him was able to cast them back into that pocket dimension of wherever that. So for those of you that don't really understand, let me show you something. And when you read Matthew chapter 12, starting at verse 43, Yahusha say, when the unclean Ruach is gone out of a man, he walks through dry places, seeking rest and finds none. Then he says, I will return into my house from whence I came out. And when he is come, he finds it empty and swept and garnished. Then goes he and takes with himself 7 other Ruachah, more wicked than himself, and then enter. Ruachah is unclean spirits. And they enter in and dwell there, and the last state of that man is worse than the first. Even so shall it be also unto this wicked nation. Okay, so he was talking about how at the same time the transgression of Israel to get worse and worse than the first state it was in. It gets worse and worse each time. And so when we look at that from our perspective, walking in a spiritual standpoint, whenever we find ourselves in disobedience over and over again, then we're allowing that state of that spirit to come back over and over again. So what I was seeing in my dream was those spirits and unclean places roaming around. So, okay, so like I said, I was reading the book of Baruch, and I began to read about specters and phantasms and all these different things that had to do with devils and demons that were creeping around. So I began to ask y'all reveal to me, am I on the right path? Am I seeking your face properly? Am I doing these things like I should be doing? Am I seeking you? So that same day when I work at night, so I'm pretty much sleep during the day, but I had a dream and I saw like this it was like a black, I don't know how to put it, but he revealed to me that was a specter. It's like a black cloud, but it was an unclean spirit roaming dry places. Now, I was in the mall. The mall represented the world because that's where everybody want to spend their Saturdays and different days, do it, all that stuff. So when I went all the way to the top floor of the mall, what was up there was a whole bunch of beds. And the beds represented like, and in my spirit, like while I'm in my dream, I don't know if this happened to anybody, but when you're in your dreams, you have that feeling of just like stuff being revealed to you, or you already kind of know. And what was being told to me is that when people would go up there to that floor was like a floor where people would just like randomly stop and have sex. So we had got to a point in time on Earth where people no longer had morals about themselves. They didn't care whether people saw them. If they was at the mall and they decided they wanted to have sex, then they would have sex up there in them beds. So all of a sudden when I came back down, because I was going all throughout the mall, I saw it looked like a black rain cloud, but it was like lightning going on and off within there, and it was like a greenish black color. So all of a sudden, I don't know. It was one of my. I don't have any. I have sisters, cousins that I grew up with that I call sisters. That I have 2 sisters-in-law. So okay, in that dream, I don't know who it was, but I just remember the spirit entering in, and I said into my sister. In my spirit, man, I felt like it was a sister. I don't know whether it was a sister in the spirit or a sister Christian spirit, one of my sister-in-laws, or who it was, but all I know is once that spirit, I saw it like black smoke just go inside of the mouth. And when it went inside of their mouth, like their eyes, like every part of their eyes just turned black. And to those of you, I don't know, back in the day, I used to listen to Bone Thugs and Harmony when that video "See You at the Crossroads" came out. It was the death angel went and got people, and whenever he touched them, their eyes turned completely black. That's the best way I could describe it. But like there was no longer a pupil or the whiteness or the eyeball, the cornea. It was just straight pitch black. So right immediately, I told it to get out in the name of Yahusha, and it immediately got out, and it began to go it went into like the area where people are eating at. Now, this is the interpretation of that part. Where people were eating at, what are we supposed to eat of? Every word that proceeds out of the mouth of Yah. We're not supposed to depend on bread alone. And so the people were in the food court, and it was like the spirit wanted to confuse me, so I wouldn't know where it was at. So everybody had froze. And then all of a sudden, what happened was, like, once everybody started back moving, it was like one person was out of sync with how it was going on. So it was like I knew that, okay, the spirit is that unclean spirit is here, and it didn't want me to find it to cast it out again. And then, like, all of a sudden I woke up. I don't know if my wife woke me up or my son or something happened, but I woke up. Okay, so then just this past night or 2 days, whatever it was. Anyway, so I began to dream, and I had a dream this time. It was kind of weird because I know people don't look at things like that, but trolls and ogres and different things like that. But if you look at them in the spiritual sense, those are demonic figures, okay? And so it was like I was and not going by the Netflix show, but it was like I was a troll hunter in a sense, because I was hunting these things because they were like trying to attack kids and scare kids. So all of a sudden, I don't know if it was my great grandmother, it was somebody that was related to me, appeared and told me that in my line, I'm the one that carry out that. I'm the one to protect. And this all goes along with me praying and asking Yah, am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? Am I before you properly? Because at times I feel like, sometimes I could pray more, sometimes I could do, read more, sometimes I could help more, sometimes I could do whatever more. So I always seek Y'all on, am I doing the proper thing? Is my heart right before him? And he showed me in that dream that I was set apart, a piece of a part of my the lineage to carry on. And so therefore my lineage, just like let's break it down like this. So Adam had Seth had Noah. We know that Seth didn't have Noah, but Noah came from Seth, and then Shem came from Noah, then Abraham come from Shem. I mean, and you got to break down a couple bloodlines from that, but if you look at the lineage all the way from there, then you lead to Abraham, then Abraham to Isaac, then Isaac to Jacob, then Jacob to Judah, then Judah to Yahusha. So look at it in that sense. And so he was revealing to me that I ain't saying from the line of Yahudah, but my lineage is to carry out my lineage is decreed with his word to fight the fight, to carry on this battle spiritually, because in the times that we're living in these dark times that we're living in, the demons, the unclean spirit, just like in the book of Revelation. The book of Revelation, where it talk about the demons coming out of the pit. And that's in Revelation chapter 9. And the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth, and unto him was given the key of the bottomless pit, and opened the bottomless pit, and there arose smoke out of the pit as the smoke of a great furnace, and the sun and the air were darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit. And there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth, and unto them was given power as the scorpions of the earth have power. And it was commanded them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree, but only those men which have not the seal of Yahuwah in their foreheads. Now, if you study your Torah, if you keep your Torah, if it's been inscribed that when you are reading the Levitical laws, it says that he established his sign through his people by what? By keeping his Sabbath day. Now, and keeping the commandments, but by keeping his Sabbath day, that sign, you're sealed. You're sealed. And so therefore, there is coming a time upon this earth when the people of YAH, I mean it, and I say it like this: the people of God, the people of God, the people that call themselves followers of Yahusha, followers of Jesus, and what you know now, I'm speaking in the regular term. Those of you, it is coming a time when the unclean spirits are coming to battle, and they're doing what they are sent to do. Are you gonna be willing to be obedient to what you are told to do? This is what Baruch say, and that the interpretation of his dream is in Baruch, 2nd Baruch chapter 27. He said, and he answered and said unto me, the 12 parts is that time divided, and each one of them is reserved for that which is appointed for it. And the first part there shall be the beginning of commotions. Now, don't that sound like what Yahusha said that in Matthew 24? He began to break down the days and what it would be like in the end of days and when that time would come. But think about it. Every era has a judgment period. And so now we're reaching that period of judgment, because when you see natural disasters, those are acts of YAH. Those are judgments of YAH. So look at this. So in Matthew 24, starting from verse 3, he said, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am the Messiah, and they shall lead many astray. And you shall begin to hear of fighting and reporting of fighting. And the first part there shall be the beginning of commotions. That's what Baruch said. This is matching exactly up with what Yahusha said. But Yahusha said that people would come in his name, claiming to be Messiah. Now look at this. And verse 3 say, and the second part, there shall be slayings of the great ones. Slayings of the great ones. Look at this. And you shall begin to hear of fightings and reporting of fightings. See that you be not troubled, for these have to take place, but this is not the end yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be scarcities of food and deadly diseases and earthquakes in places. Now watch this. And the second part, there shall be slayings of the great ones, of the great ones, of those great mighty nations, of those great supposed kings and people that are supposed to be supposedly prominent and all that different stuff. Now look at this. And the third part, the fall of many by death. How do you fall by death? By famine. Look at this. And the fifth part, sending of the sword, and the fourth part, the sending of the sword, and the fifth part, famine and the withholding of rain. This is going like exactly what Yahusha said. And in the sixth part, earthquakes and terrors, wanting. Earthquakes and terrors and wanting. And the eighth part, a multitude of specters and attacks of the Shadim. And the ninth part, the fall of fire. And the 10th part, rapine and much raping. Basically raping. And much oppression. And the 11th part, wickedness and unchastity. All that ties in with my dream. The unchastity where people no longer they're no longer have morals about themselves. They don't care about having sex in the streets, having sex in public, or speaking the way they speak in public, or live. And listen, we're in that day and that age when things like this are happening. Look at the 12th part is confusion from the mingling together of those things before said. So all those things begin to mingle together. And so basically the reason I did this is because in those dreams and those visions that I've been having, not only am I called to be a warrior to fight this fight, there are many of you out there that are having the same dreams and visions of fighting demon. Some of us have dreams of fighting zombies. I had that dream. Some of us don't have dreams of I have seen demons, like I have seen fallen angels in my dreams, and in their form they look like almost like humanoid dragons, like. But I have seen these things like trying to and destroying the earth and the people thereof that has no part with YAH. So I'm here to tell you, it's time to fight that good fight. It's time to recognize that in this day and in this age, there's no time to play around with the word of Yah. If you're gonna trust Yah, if you're gonna keep it Sabbath and keep it holy, then do that. Set it apart. If you're gonna be obedient to each and every commandment and go beyond and walk in righteousness, then do it. But don't play around. He will not have you. He will not have you cold or lukewarm. Look at all the fires in Greece. It said that they found people, families huddled up together, holding each other, and were burnt to death to a crisp. Just in some country, the river turned to blood. Then the other night, on the Friday night, there was a blood moon that covered all the other continents except North America. Just in the past years, we seen 4 blood moons on high holy days. And not only 4 blood moons on the high holy days, but then you also had last, I think it was last August, the what was it? The solar eclipse that went all the way through America, and another one comes in 7 years. Listen, Yah's judgment is just and it's righteous, and He's gonna stay committed to His word. But are you gonna be committed? Are you gonna be faithful? Are you gonna be found? Or are you gonna hear, depart from me, ye worker of iniquity? And remember this, those that He told that were those that cast out devils in His name. And yet He told them, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye worker of iniquity. Or will you be one of those that was chosen, handpicked, and selected, and will hear, well done, my good and faithful servant. Come in unto my rest. There's no more time to be playing out there. And those of you, hey, that if you don't have a place to worship, we do study on Wednesday. We do a study on Shabbat. You can always come to this channel and gather with us. And also, you got Remnant House. You go to remnanthouse.org if you're not a member of any. And listen, I ain't sitting up here saying get stuck to the facilities in the churches. I done that, and I'm gonna tell you like this: it's good for a time being until you just become so comfortable in the walls that you're not willing even to talk, to spread the good news to anybody besides somebody that you know, or you just relating to them that know that you know. You're never going out to anybody and making it known. Do you bring it? They don't bring it to work with them. They don't bring it to the store with them. They don't bring it. And what I mean is they don't bring the Ruach HaKodesh. They claim to have the Holy Spirit. They jump around and hoop and holler and throw up and do all that different type of stuff and claim to be fasting, but ain't no fruit growing on there. Ain't no fruit of righteousness. Ain't no fruit of peace. Ain't no fruit of joy. No fruit of meekness, no fruit of humbleness. Ain't none of that showing. And Yahusha said, you shall know them by their fruit. So just find yourself a true truth believing. Let's say that. Going by the truth, because a lot of people say, you're only supposed to read the King James Version. Well, I'm going to tell you like this. They told you what you had to read when we couldn't really read, and they would read it to us. They told us how we had to live. They told us how we had to do this. And if you continue to just go by what being told to you, they say that you'll never know unless you try it. So a lot of times my wife be like, taste this. You won't know how it tastes until you try it. And so I'm believing, just as that word was lining up with the words of Yahusha in the book of Baruch, a lot of people say, oh, you shouldn't be reading that other stuff. Oh, you don't need to read the Sefer. Well, I'm going to tell you like this. I can look in that Sefer and I can line up everything that's in that Sefer lines up with the word, the Torah, the Tanakh, and even the Maccabees and all that stuff. See, that's history they don't want us to know. Those are the things what was told to Daniel. Some things were told to Daniel. Some things that were told to Yirmiyahu. And so now, when Yahuwah, he even told Baruch, he said, close up these things that I'm revealing to you into the recess of your mind. Remember, he told Daniel to seal up those books. He said, because in the last days, knowledge shall increase and go to and fro. Now, a lot of people say that's the internet, but what Yah considers himself knowledge. And so when he told Hosea that my people perish for the lack of knowledge, they are destroyed for the lack of knowledge, because there's no knowledge of who? No knowledge of Yah in the land. So when we allow ourselves to become crippled because we're letting people tell us, oh, you shouldn't explore that, you shouldn't do this. And now listen, I know back in the day I said I wasn't going to use the book of Enoch in my days of Noah and all that different type of stuff. But you know what? I realize now that Yahusha read and went by a good amount of these books. And yes, he kept Torah and didn't change it after he died for us. He said not one jot, no one tittle shall be changed. So listen, I'm telling you, I've been having these dreams. I'm pretty sure plenty of you been having these dreams and visions. And that's warriors. Listen, I'm talking about spiritual fighting warriors. And I'm talking about that's going to be fighting these demons. That's going to be casting them out the same way that the apostles were casting them out. I'm talking about coming up upon people that's going to be infested with legions of demons. But you have to be the one that's ready to fight this fight, no matter how much the enemy will come up against you and your anointing, because it's the anointing that destroys the yoke. And remember this, each time that Yahusha cast out any unclean spirit,